This is Banjo, and today I'm going over the GAU-8 Avenger 30mm cannon for the A-10C and DCS world. First, as we cycle the left MFD into the DSMS page, we're able to see that we have 1150 rounds of combat mix loaded onto the aircraft. Through the rearming menu or through the mission editor, we're able to see that we can define the ammunition used as well as the amount carried. Ammunition types include target, high explosive incendiary, and combat mix, which is a mix of armor piercing and high explosive incendiary. If you choose to switch ammunition types during a mission, you can enter the IFFCC weapons menu to define the ammunition used for the 30mm cannon. With 30mm selected, pressing enter will enter the menu, at which point we're able to see that we have several adjustable parameters. When rearming, ammo type and rounds are the parameters to edit, though later on we'll be taking a look at minimum altitude. So if I were rearming, I'd set the ammo type and round count to what I chose in the rearming menu, at which point I would press store and exit the menu, and return the IFFCC back to operation. At this point, to place the gun into operation, we're able to see under the left MFD we have two 3-position switches. The left switch is master arm, the central position being safe. This must be in the upper position to fire anything in the A-10. The switch to the right will enable precision attitude control, which will automatically adjust the aircraft's pitch and yaw to assist in stabilizing the gun during firing. In the lower position, precision attitude control is disabled, and we're able to see how the recoil will affect the aircraft's pitch during firing. When the switch is placed in the upwards position, precision attitude control will be enabled when the first stage of the trigger is depressed. The aircraft will be stabilized in pitch and yaw to hold point of aim during firing. The central position is safe, disabling the gun from being fired, and as we cycle the left MFD to the DSMS page, we can see our rounds remaining become illuminated when the gun is moved out of safe, and the gun ready indicator above the radar warning receiver becomes illuminated. As the master mode is cycled, we'll enter guns mode, as indicated on the HUD, and we're able to see the CCIP guns reticle displayed. Over on the lower left-hand side of the HUD, we're able to see the ammunition type and rounds remaining indicated, as well as the weapon's arm state indicated below. Before I explain the CCIP gun reticle, we can cycle DSMS left or right, in this case right, to enter the other reticles available, and we can see the CCIP gun cross. Both of these are computed to show the impact point, provided valid target information. If the CCIP gun reticles are not providing accurate information, two reticles calibrated for fixed increments are available, the 4, 8, and 12,000 foot reticle, and the 4,000 foot wind-corrected gun cross. These will be explained and demonstrated later on in the video. The CCIP gun reticle consists of a large circle with a smaller circle on the inside. The smaller circle unwinds as range closes to the target. This is known as the analog range bar, and it will start unwinding at 2 miles to target. Below the reticle, we can see a digital readout for range indicated as well. In the center of the reticle, the pipper indicates the predicted impact point for the rounds. When combat mix is loaded, we can see two pippers indicated, with the upper one indicating the impact point for armor-piercing rounds, with the lower one indicating the impact point for high-explosive incendiary rounds. The vertical lines on either side of the pipper indicate the lead required for a target moving at a speed of 20 knots perpendicular to the line of sight. As the lead indicators rotate with the bank of the aircraft, they can be used in conjunction with the fixed indicators on the outside of the reticle to tell the aircraft's attitude at a glance. When the CCIP gun cross is presented with an accurate data, we're able to see an X is drawn in the center of the reticle. At this point, we have an example of an attack against a moving target. Cycling the master mode to enter guns, at this point I find the target, set up for the attack. In this example, I'm going to be placing the left lead indicator over the target, which will calculate the lead for the target, and I'll be using the lower impact point so that the high explosive incendiary rounds impact the target. At this point, as I see the analog range bar unwinding, I depress the trigger with pack enabling on the first stage and the gun firing on the second. The low flashing squares on the HUD are the projected impact points for the rounds. And as we can see, this was enough to destroy the target. For the next example, I'll be attacking two Zeus AAA emplacements and an SA-13 from a farther range using the CCIP gun cross. The CCIP guns cross displays the same computed impact point as the CCIP guns reticle, minus the lead indicators or the second pipper for the HEI ammunition. The CCIP guns cross can be quite effective for attacking stationary targets such as AAA emplacements. Naturally, as range increases, accuracy will decrease, though anything below 4 miles will put rounds down on target with a fair degree of accuracy using the CCIP guns cross. Placing the cross over a target and holding the first stage of the trigger enables pack, at which point I'll hold the second stage of the trigger to fire the gun. When engaging air defense targets such as this, you will make sure not to get much closer than 2 miles to target. Due to the nature of how tough some targets in DCS seem to be at current, Be sure to engage them, using as much ammunition as you feel is needed to destroy the threat. A good example of this is the fact main battle tanks at current seem to take an extraordinary amount of punishment, even to the back or top armor, regardless of the range fired, and we're able to see all 3 targets were successfully destroyed. Just as with the CCIP gun's reticle, the CCIP gun's cross, when shown incorrect target information, will display an X through the center, and will also be fixed to its maximum range. When inaccurate target elevation information prevents an accurate CCIP solution, the 4, 8, and 12,000 foot gun reticle can be used, displaying the fixed slant ranges for 4, 8, and 12,000 feet. An alternative to the 4, 8, and 12,000 foot reticle is the 4,000 foot wind-corrected gun cross, which displays a 4,000 foot wind-corrected slant range solution. In this next example, I'm flying at low altitude in the mountains, and as I cycle master mode to select guns and climb towards the target, we can see I get CCIP invalid, since the target is at a higher altitude than our own aircraft. We can see how this is the case for both the CCIP gun's reticle and the CCIP gun's cross. For this example, I have to use either the 4, 8, and 12,000 foot reticle or the 4,000 foot wind-corrected gun cross. I use the 4,000 foot wind-corrected gun cross, and we're able to see how precision attitude control is not functioning during this attack. One final function I'll demonstrate is the gun minimum range queue. If we go into the IFFCC 30mm submenu, we can set the minimum recovery altitude for use with the MRC. This will provide a caret beside the CCRP gun reticles, which will give an indication for time before recovery. At this point, with 2,000 feet entered into the minimum altitude for the IFFCC in the 30mm submenu, I'll cycle master arms, select guns, and we can see the caret indicated on the upper right-hand portion of both CCIP reticles. At the moment, this is indicating we are 5 or more seconds above minimum recovery altitude. The central position indicates the aircraft is at the minimum recovery altitude, and when it's clamped at the lower half, it indicates the aircraft is 5 seconds or more below the minimum recovery altitude. So in practice, when using the MRC, you conduct your attack at or above the central position, as anything below the central position indicates below minimum recovery altitude.